About time for another Coach Life, baby. Oh, yesterday. So it was the 13th. I had a feeling. I was like, yo, the 13th is going to be lit up. I didn't know why. It was a 6 and 7 thing. Watch the video from yesterday. I was going to do another one yesterday because it was so powerful, but I said, nah, actually, I just ran out of juice because I ran out of time. I didn't break fast until like 9:20 or something like that. But anyways, I was looking at my journal from yesterday. On the 13th is when I started running. In 2018, it was my first run. And the year before that, I had a dark night of the soul in Mexico City. Me and my guy was out, and then we were partying, and then it was just all of a sudden 6 in the morning, and we were the last two people on the street, and we were just like, what? Like, no, never be the last two people on the street. And this was outside of Mono. And it was crazy because I always fought Mono. Like, I preferred Departamento, but my guy always wanted to go to Mono, and we would always end up at Mono. And it was, to me, it's just dark and weird, and the music's like, it's like weird EDM type of vibes, but it's not a bad time. It's just not my Departamento. You get like more soul music and stuff like that. But anyways, we got like the VIP entrance in the Mono. Like the bartender recognized, and the line was crazy, and he recognized me, and he was like, "Wow!" And then we didn't even have to pay the cup. It was crazy. It made 0 sense, but we had a great time, and then it was just like, great time led to a dark night of the soul. Last two people on the street. And so I had to come to terms with some realities in my travels in Mexico City on the 13th of April, 2017. And then sure enough, it was such foreshadowing. I just didn't know because I was on such a high, because I was traveling, and life was just amazing. Like every morning I woke up in Mexico City with the sun and the mountains and the people. I just felt so lucky. Like sometimes I'll just wake up and like well up with tears. It was so beautiful, the energy. And then 2018, life had me in such a grip that I said, okay, whatever it is that's blocking me, whatever it is that I'm not doing, is getting done, period. I don't care what it is. And so I really had to be honest with myself and look at all the things, and I was like, okay, I'm not too worried about this, not too worried about that. This is bringing up fear, so I'm doing that. This is bringing up a little something. Oh, this is, and the most important thing that I came to, which felt silly at first, was running, like being in shape, but in like cardiovascular. Now, mind you, I can play basketball for hours and hours and hours, no problem. But running was completely different, and I had to process it. So on this day is when I said, no matter whatever the logic is, I'm going on this run. And so I jumped in my basketball kicks at the time. That's all I had. I jumped in my kicks, and I ran to the bluff. And I'll never forget, it was like this tangerine sunset, and like I was so happy that I made it to the bluff, but I relieved myself, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna run back. Running from my house to the bluff was like a quarter of a mile, half a mile, I'm not sure, but it definitely is not a mile, half a mile, quarter of a mile. I'm running from the bluff, and I stopped when I got to the bluff. Now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna double up. I'm running from the bluff back to the house. I almost stopped halfway because I was like, ho. My body was like, bruh. And then it started to hit me. All the things about running that bring up the triggers for me. As a kid, I had asthma. So not being able to breathe, you know, I had to go to the hospital multiple times, get the steroids, ventilators, all of that. And it came from, I was allergic to like dander, like cat hair, dog hair. And then it's like all types of shame with that. So aside from the fact that I literally could have died, like, you know, people die from asthma a lot. And it was severe what I had. And so that came up. And then also the asthma came from like living conditions that were, you know, I never really had my own room, and we were often on the move. So it's like, I'm allergic to cats, but we got to do what we got to do. You know, we were homeless before, you know, so multiple times. So like, a home is a home if there's a cat or not. And everyone tried their best to like look out for me and stuff like that. But like, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So I had to live with cats and dogs. And also people just, they don't really think about allergies seriously. It's just like, oh, you got a cold or something like that. But it's like, you know, my lungs, I had to go to the hospital multiple times. So that came up. The monotony of running, it's almost like you couldn't pick a thing that was more not enjoyable for me. It's boring. It's painful. It's like suffocating. It's like drowning in your own whatever. When you get on the knees, you know, I had all these like fear patterns about the knees from basketball. And I on this day, 2018, I processed through it all. And I was like, wow. Even though it was a chump run, and I definitely didn't like, definitely wasn't a mile in total, but I pushed through, and that enabled me to, so now when people like, they're like, yo, I always see you running, and they're like, wow, you do. I was like, no. That quarter mile run, that half mile run, that first run, that was the one. That was it. Everything else is just a continuation of that. I'm not impressed by any of this stuff now, because I know the real push through. So quite an anniversary. In 2017, it was Dark Night of the Soul. 2018, it was my first run. 2019, I'm not too sure about. 2020, we were in the pandemic. Oh yeah, 2019, I remember. I was bouncing back. I was substitute teaching, shadowing Hoodie, just like trying to get my feet under me again, taking the bus on the vineyard, like really just humble and building up steady, continuing to run. And then 2020 was the pandemic. Oh, 2021 was the first day of Ramadan. So I went to Aikido for expeditionary learning, and the instructor was talking all about chi and what Aikido, ki stands just chi. Do is like Tao or Tao, or the Tao, you know, the nameless, once you name it, you got it. But anyways, I remember a sketch from that day. It was wind and waves, and it was this beautiful like sketch. And Rose and I made candles before that. And anyways, so I'm realizing all of this as I'm catching up in my journal in a pottery class yesterday. And I'm like, wow, I gotta definitely make another video because this is so powerful. But by the time that I got home, I had to bounce out for something else. I had to go play basketball, and then I had to go do a like game show contest, which I won last year. And it was a lot of fun, way out of my comfort zone, but it was to raise $250 for Connective. So I did it, and it was a lot of fun. But obviously it's still Ramadan, so I was fasting, and it was that cardboard box. So, you know, people are acting kind of crazy, enjoying themselves and whatnot. My man J.O. was there, yo. That was hilarious. He said, yo. I was like, yo, what are you doing? I was just going to the bathroom. He was like, man, I ain't gonna let you get away with this. Like, I gotta see this. So, but he was supporting too. It was dope. Yeah, and then I got home. It was like 9:20, something like that, when I finally got to break my fast. Scarfed down some food, and then I went to my phone. I forgot I got a package at the crib, so I had to hop in the wheel, go back to the crib, pick up the package before it got soaked or whatever. Skunks got to it, and then came back, and that was the day, you know. So I wanted to capture it. I apologize if this one is just like me, but maybe it'll be helpful to somebody. I don't know. That's the coach life for now. It's just the 13. Go back to the previous video and you'll see I was struggling with 6 and 7, but it was 13, and I knew 13 had that pang pang. Now, there's a lot of reasons why that could have been the case, but I'm pretty sure I just illuminated a little bit of magic there. And I was talking about that, you know what I mean? Yeah, so anyways, I wish you the best day. Enjoy it. Remember who you are. Stand in your power. You know, don't be too attached to what other people think about you, man. This is not that time. Feel good about yourself. Set your boundaries. Be grateful. Want more. Want a lot. It's okay to want a lot. You know, like, it's okay. But be grateful for what you have. You know, that's not a contradiction. That's just the natural order of the structure of the universe. It's abundant, for sure. So your body, you get a cut, your body heals. It has nothing to do with you. Do you sit there thinking like, oh, blood now congeal. Okay, skin, now work yourself back together. Okay, scar tissue. You know, it has nothing to do with your logic. Don't make this logical like that. Logic has its own value in its own space. This is a universal energy I'm talking about. Abundance is the natural order. Embrace it. All right. Coach life. Ciao.